All right, since it's 10:15, let's get going. I'm starting with a video, so here we go.
Show me movies with explosions. Show me more like this. Show me previously watched. What's recommended for me?
X1 makes it easy to find what blows you away. Call or go online and switch to X1. Only with Xfinity.
Okay, so I showed the video not as an advertisement for Comcast, but really to show you what the product is that I work on. I work on our voice remote on the X1 platform, so I'm going to tell you all about that. This talk is, I'm Jeanine Heck, I work at Comcast, and I'm on the product team. This talk is really about some of the keys to launching a new product. We launched a voice remote last year, and we've learned a lot along the way. And so I'll share some of the best practices from that experience and really just some of the things that we think makes the product really unique and that differentiates it. My background is I've been in product development almost my whole career. I started out, I had a computer science degree from Penn, and I went to Wall Street to work on regulatory systems. And really early on realized that I was very much more interested in the business side of software development and really what the needs were of the people using it. So I started doing that pretty early, writing requirements, and kind of worked my way into a product lead role. The one thing I realized working on Wall Street is I wasn't really passionate about financial systems or trading systems. So I went back to business school, got my MBA, and now I'm really excited to say that I love what I do. I love that ad because it shows the excitement behind TV. I've always loved TV since I was a child, and getting to work on something that you really love and marry that with your passion for technology is really fulfilling. So for me, I just love working at Comcast. I've been there 9 years, and I've worked mostly on content discovery, so really just helping people find something to watch on TV. And that includes, there's a very large team that does that at Comcast. That includes all of the metadata, the images, and all of the structured data about TV, but also I've worked on the search engine, the recommendations engine, and now our voice engine. So Comcast. Anybody who hasn't heard of Comcast? I just include this. Of course, this being a talk in Philly, it's probably a little bit different. I'm sure you've all heard of us, but sometimes I take these talks to other places where people haven't even heard of us. So we're one of the largest providers of video, internet, and phone services in the country. And we also, we really think of ourselves not just as a cable company, but a media and technology company. We also have a large portfolio of media assets with NBC Universal. We purchased them about 5 years ago, and with that purchase came a whole set of cable networks, a broadcast network, well, several broadcast networks, and movie studio and theme parks. So I'm going to talk a little bit about X1, really just to kind of give you guys some idea of what X1 is all about, because the product that I work on is the voice remote, and it's part of this much bigger platform called X1. So Xfinity X1, this is our platform for video. It is not just cable, it's not just your cable box. It is really meant to be a cross-platform experience. So you can get the same experience on your mobile phone, on your tablets, that you get on your TV. And so we've built it that way, so it's really a seamless experience. It's also 100% cloud-based. And one of the cool things is that every single button press is cloud-based. So you're clicking on your remote, every single call goes up to the cloud. That is really exciting for those of us in cable who used to write software that had to be downloaded onto the box. And rolling out those products was really difficult. It used to take us months to get each market to download the software onto their set-top boxes. And now we really just, we could launch several times a day because it's all cloud-based. Makes it a lot easier. And it makes us much more able to move quickly on the software side. So we are excited about X1 and rolling it out as quickly as we can. So 50% of our activations or our cable installs have been X1, and 1/3 of all of our subscribers have X1 now, or all of our triple play subscribers. Triple play meaning phone, internet, and TV. And then we also are rapidly installing boxes every day, just 40,000 boxes every day, just to give you an idea of the scale of this rollout. The company is putting everything behind this because we really are excited about the product. We are the first to market with this kind of product, and we really believe in it, and we're seeing great results too. So it's just a little James Spader picture. Oh, I skipped. Sorry, I forgot about the animation. Shoot. Okay. There we go. So these are some of the results from X1. There is a huge lift in the viewing of on demand. There is an increase in the revenue for what we call VOD, video on demand. And so, you can see all the results up here. We are really excited about it. And what's great is that our customers love the product. So, we want to get this product out as quickly as possible. And it's really changing the perception of our company from a cable company, kind of this thinking of it being a utility, to really being a product company. We're creating products that people love, that are differentiated and that are unique, and that help people love our company, but also stay with us. Because there's, of course, a lot of competition these days in the TV space. One other thing we are doing is we are syndicating X1. So we're kind of white labeling it. We're going out to different markets under different brands, but really with the X1 experience. So if you're a Cox customer, you can call up now and get this thing called Contour 2. And Contour 2 really is X1 under the covers. It's not branded that way, but we are really excited that other video providers are licensing our software. The other company there is Shaw. They're a Canadian cable company. And so you'll probably see more of these syndication deals like this coming from Comcast. The other great thing about X1 is that it really meets a variety of audience needs. So I'll give you a few examples. Not only do we have a voice remote, and I'm going to talk a lot about that, but we also have what we call the talking guide or voice guidance. The guide talks back to you as you move. Every click of the button is announced. So if you're visually disabled, you can see what's on TV by hearing it. And so we read aloud as you move through. Even if you go to an actor page, you can hear some of their when they were born and all of the movies they were in. You can go to a movie page and hear what the ratings are for that movie. This has really changed some people's lives, and it's really been amazing to work on something that, we get excited about cutting edge technology and innovation, but this is the kind of thing that really makes someone's day completely different. Just think of if you can't see, you can't set up a DVR recording, you can't purchase a movie. And so we're bringing all of those experiences to new audiences, which is just awesome. The guide also has a kids mode, or we call it Kids Zone, where you can create this walled garden for your children that is safe. All of the content is approved, and you can even set the age level for which content you want available to your children. We also just recently announced this, that we are starting to build menus for different audiences. So this is our Black Film and TV menu, and we have, I'm sorry the pictures are a little hard to see. We have recently launched this, and we are thinking about the different audiences we have, and X1 makes it easy to do new things and try new things. And so we're bringing together Black Film and TV on our menu, and we've gotten really great feedback on that so far. Also, we have a bilingual guide. It is now, our guide can be changed to Spanish language. So that includes everything on the guide. As you can see there, the menu names are all changed, but it also includes voice control. So you can do voice with Spanish language as well as English. All right. Moving on to the voice remote. So this is really what I came here to talk about. I have voice remotes here. If anybody is an X1 customer and needs a voice remote, I brought a bunch with me. This is a product that we launched less than a year ago, last May, and we have over 6 million remotes activated in people's homes. And we're launching this as quickly as possible. It's really the fastest device that we've ever launched. So we're getting it out as quickly as we can with all new installs, but also to a lot of the customers who had X1 already. If I were in front of a X1 box, I would do a demo now, but I'm not. So I brought another video to give you an idea of all the capabilities of the voice remote, kind of like a demo.
Introducing the new voice remote, available only with Xfinity on the X1 Entertainment operating system. Controlling your TV has never been easier, faster, or more convenient. Just say it and see it. Simply press and hold the blue voice button, then speak your command and release. Xfinity will quickly find what you're looking for. Use voice commands to change channels, find shows, get recommendations, launch apps and more. Search for your favorite actor, your local sports team, the channels you love, or just ask to see what's on now. And there's no need to memorize special commands because X1 understands plain English. You can say things like, watch Food Network, show me kids movies, launch Pandora, or record Fixer Upper. You can even access X1 recommendations by asking, what should I watch? The voice remote also makes accessibility even easier by responding to commands like, turn on closed captioning. The X1 voice remote is the coolest new gadget to enhance your entertainment experience. It even has backlit keys, so you can see it in the dark. It's easy, just like watching TV should be. Say it and see it with the X1 voice remote. Xfinity, the future of awesome. Visit xfinity.com/voice remote to learn more.
So that gives you an idea of what the product can do. It actually, that's just a small piece of the commands that we can do. So next I'm going to tell you about our path to launch. From a product point of view, my role is to make sure that when you press the microphone, the button hears you and understands you, and that we take you to the right place in the guide. This is all about navigating X1, and it's my job to make sure that the button works. There are other people who are, it's their job to design the remote and to make sure it's usable. My job is really all about the software and making sure that the voice recognition works. So a few of the advantages that we've had as we launched this platform, or I guess the lessons learned, if I was going to do it all over again, I would really borrow from some of these ideas. Number one, I mentioned already that X1 is a cloud-based platform. This is something that really gave us a huge advantage. We did not have to rethink X1 to put voice on it. It was a cloud-based platform to begin with. There were already a lot of APIs to change channels, to bring up a list of movies. And it really was just a matter of building the voice engine and hooking into the platform as it was. This helped us really move a lot more quickly. And also, it gave us the benefit of some of the great algorithms and relevance that we had already built. So, for example, if you type PHI with your remote and do a search, you'll get the Phillies as your top result, probably in Philadelphia. And that is really helpful for us that we had that engine built because it helped us get a head start with relevance. We still had to do a whole bunch of other things to really make sure we get the things right, because voice is obviously a different interface. But we had a great head start because X1 is cloud-based. This little app was one of the best things that we did. So back in 2013, we actually launched this app. This was the first mechanism to do voice control. So the app was called, or is called Xfinity X1 Remote. It is meant to be a full remote replacement. You've probably used apps like this with other, Apple TV has one. It can do everything a remote can do. And And at the time, it was unique because we didn't have a remote yet. We were in the process of building one, but we launched this app so that we could get this out to customers. And as a product manager, this was really invaluable. We got millions of voice commands and we analyzed them. In the beginning, we could listen to all of them and really think about what features we needed to add. But over time, we created this whole process to analyze the accuracy of those commands and to make sure that we were improving our accuracy over time. So we spent a lot of time on that. And it was, I would kind of just with that point urge you, if you're launching a product, get it out into customers' hands as quickly as possible. Make sure it's valuable, but get it in their hands and start looking at how they use it. It was a very valuable thing for us to have this app and have it for several years now before we launched the voice remote, because it gave us the ability to really tune the engine to what users' needs would be. And it turns out that the way that they use that app was very similar to the way that they use the voice remote today. The point here is mostly to eat your own dog food. This is a picture from a new movie we have coming out this summer that Universal Studios has coming out. It's by the creators of the Minions and Despicable Me Illuminations, and it is called Secret Life of Pets. So I just included the picture for fun, because I think it's really fun to work at a content company too. But the point is that we test our products. Comcast is really good at this. I know I've always had new cable boxes in my house way before customers are going to see them. And it's just kind of a practice that we've always used, is really asking our employees to test our products. My husband isn't always happy when we get the new box and it doesn't work perfectly. We have guests over and you may not be able to play the game the first week that the box is in the house. But it is something that I think we have a great culture around employee testing and eating your own dog food, as they say. And it helps so much because TV is really a nighttime and weekend experience. So to test it during the day, when you have just daytime television on, you don't always get the best test set. You really do have to test it at night when the game is on, when the 8 o'clock episode of The Voice is on, or even right now election coverage is the hottest at night. Of course, they have it all day now, but so all of the things that are important for TV are really not happening during our typical workday. So for us, it really is important to eat your own dog food and test at home. So the point here is really about analyzing your usage. So I mentioned that we were really lucky to have that app and that we created a whole framework for voice accuracy. So really just, say we tested 100 voice commands, what percentage of them did the right thing for the customer? And that is a metric that we created early on and we use still to this day. We're always refining it. We're finding new ways to slice and dice that data and find areas for improvement. But I would say that the point here is really a few things. Number one, if you are building a product and you're about to launch, make sure you're logging something, because as soon as you launch it, you're going to want to know how people used it. It sounds so obvious. A lot of us probably already practice this, but I've seen it. I've seen other products launch and there just aren't enough analytics around it. The other thing is, if you're a product manager, I kind of think of my usage analysis as something I have to do every single day. It's kind of like checking your email. You have to go and look at your logs. I think of it as the thing I do when I'm bored. It's almost like, the way you go to Facebook or Twitter. I go to my analytics and I look at how people are using the product. And there's always a surprise in there. The cool thing with TV is that it's fresh and new and it's always changing. And so the way people are using our voice commands is always changing. And this is how we find some of the problems that are just inevitable with voice. So for example, the show Paw Patrol is very difficult for voice engines to understand. It's a popular kids show and it comes in as Paw Patrol or Paw Patrol. There's a whole bunch of ways that it's heard. So for us to see these things, especially false positives for anybody who works in the voice recognition space. It's easy to get to see what you completely failed on, but it's very hard to see what you think you got right, but you didn't. So you have to analyze your usage to find these things. And for me, it's probably, I consider it the number one thing that I need to do every single day at my job. The other thing is, it's great to watch your product being used from the point of view of logs, but we have found a lot of benefit by bringing customers in and talking to them. So we have a whole lab set up at Comcast, and we have a team of experts that really knows how to set up a test and get the right results out of the test. And they will bring in customers, hand them a voice remote. Sometimes our goal is just to think about FTUI, or our first-time user experience, and what are some of the issues or some of the features we need to add just for that first time you're using the experience. But also we will test things like, how do people ask for certain things? This was a really key way for us to get a head start on Spanish language. It was, there's a lot of different, dialects or different subcultures with Spanish language, and especially with it being something that goes into a lot of bilingual households, it really helped us to talk to customers and ask them how they were going to ask to change channels or to find a movie. Okay, so the other thing I've created is just some tips for creating products customers love. This is really kind of a reflection on the few years that we've had this product out to customers, and really this last year with the voice remote. And I think it's important to be thoughtful about your product and what differentiates it, and really what it means to customers. So I'll explain a few of the things that I think make the voice remote special. Number one, it solves a problem for customers. Voice is really one of these things that it can be, some people think of it as a novelty and just kind of an extra add-on. For us, voice recognition is really solving a problem. I've worked on TV content discovery for 9 years now, and some of these screens have to do with search. So a search interface on the TV is always really difficult to build. You've got to put a keyboard on the TV. You've got someone bouncing around with what we call the D-pad, the up, down, left, right keys, and it's just never an easy interface. The one thing that I would say is just being able to replace this for customers and give them a new way to surpass or to get past this need to search has been really great. That was kind of an obvious benefit that we saw right from the beginning, that if you wanted to find the People versus O.J. Simpson, you could just say it, and that would make it easier. The other thing that it replaces is the need to go look through the guide. Of course, our customers love the guide, so the guide's not going anywhere. There's still a lot of great use for the guide. And by the guide, I mean the thing that has all the channels on the left and then all the times across the top. We realize, though, that sometimes people just go there just to change the channel. They know they want CSN on 847, but they go to the guide. And to say that with one button press and just say CSN or Comcast Sportsnet and jump to that channel is really solving a problem for customers. It's a lot less work. So it's not just a novelty, it's really solving a problem for them. Number two, this is one thing that I've learned a lot about along the way, is to really focus on your strengths. Think about the things that you do well for the customer and double down on them. So what we realized early on, and we could not have predicted this, people love to change the channel with just saying the name of the channel. I don't know why, but that just wasn't obvious to us when we were launching it. We really thought that like the People versus O.J. Simpson example, or when you don't know what channel a show is on, that was an obvious benefit, that you could say the name of the show. For some reason, we really didn't realize that, like, how valuable just saying ESPN is. And everybody, I think, knows where their ESPN is or where their HBO is, but they're still the top two commands, ESPN and HBO. And so what we realized early on was that over 30% of our voice commands were for channel change. And so we dove very deeply into channel change to make it perfect. So, that top use case, like if you think of almost like the Pareto rule, like make sure that 80% of or if 20% of your behavior behaves at an 80% level, that's kind of what to aim for. For us, it's really 30% of our behavior, aiming for 95% accuracy on that behavior. So we have two categories that are our top two categories, channel change and title lookup. So channel change, like I said, ESPN, HBO, title lookup, Modern Family, The Voice, et cetera. Both of those categories, I would say we've kind of nailed the accuracy. I mean, we get those right in the high 90s. That was not how it worked in the beginning. We had this very distributed accuracy across all of our use cases or all of our domains. And I think that by focusing in on those top two and really making them accurate, that's how we really won over customers, because it just works for the things that you expect it to do out of the box. And then there's a whole bunch of other features that are really fun and interesting, like browsing movies. People say, show me all movies on HBO, or free movies. That's a very popular one. And so those categories are also important, but the top two were the ones that we really focused on and made sure that we nailed them in terms of accuracy. And it's kind of one of these things, like I heard it in leadership training once, if you go into a 360 review and you get feedback from your peers on what you're good at and what you suck at, it's very easy to look at the things you suck at and be like, oh, I gotta fix those things. But it's actually really great from a product point of view to focus on your strengths. And I think it's great as a person too to focus on your strengths and really take your strengths to the next level. But I think with our product, it's a lesson that I've really learned over the years with this voice product. Focus on your strengths and get them right. So this is one with voice, and with voice recognition being so new, it was very easy to follow the crowd or to think, okay, let's just copy Siri and do everything Siri does. Siri kind of set the expectations. And so a lot of times we found ourselves trying a new feature, mostly because Siri did it or Google Now did it. Now it's Echo, Amazon Echo. But I think what we've found over time is that the product stands out and is more loved because it's unique. So just a few of the things that we do differently. So I mentioned this a little bit before, voice as a utility. We have voice commands on the remote because voice is the best way to get to a channel. It's not a toy, it's not fun. You just want to watch ESPN and you're saying ESPN. That is something that I think, when I look at what a lot of the ads are for voice products, there's all these like cutesy little commands, show me all the movies, show me all the action movies, only the ones in HD. But really the things people want to do are just get to their content very quickly. And so I think we've differentiated our product by making it really about that utility or that ease of use and just getting you where you want to go. The other thing is, we tend to think about voice recognition as having a need to speak natural language. You want to talk to it like a human. And that's really, we set out to do that, and you can speak with natural language to our voice remote. But guess what? People don't do that. They really just say the exact thing they want, and they go to it. And so for us, it's been a lesson, yes, it's great to have natural language. It's great to say, I would like to watch a drama movie. And yes, we have that covered. But we also just have the plain, simple English commands, Discovery Channel, boom, takes you to Discovery Channel, Smithsonian Channel, some of the hard to find channels. It's just great to say the thing you want and to get right to it. Another thing, in the voice recognition space, does anybody in here work on voice recognition or any NLP people or anything like that? Okay. This is one of the things that has been really interesting. A lot of voice products aim to be voice only. So you talk to it, it talks back to you. Our product from the get-go has been multimodal. We always had this big screen. TVs are getting bigger and bigger. We have a big, beautiful screen in your house. And for us, that's been an advantage. the voice command does not just respond to you with voice. It does something. It brings up a video. It starts playing the Flyers game if you say Flyers game. And we have really always thought of that as an advantage. You know, the screen has great real estate. You're reading, you're looking at it anyway. You've kind of got this multimodal experience where you can speak to the voice button, but you can also see your responses on screen and interact on the screen. You know, sometimes it's just a lot faster to click the D-pad to move to the right rather than saying right, right, right into your voice remote. So we're kind of the best of both worlds. We've got the voice interaction, but also we still take what's great about the remote and use that as well. Our product does not have a name. It's just the voice remote. We don't yet have this need to talk to it like a human or to call it something. We tried that and just didn't really see the need. So we launched it and we gave it a very boring name, but a descriptive name that tells you exactly what it is. It's the voice remote. The other thing that we experimented with was voice out, voice back at you. And it turned out that it was really just, you know, you kind of could tell that it turned to ESPN. You could tell that it was playing the movie Frozen. You really didn't need to be told, okay, I'm starting the movie Frozen for you. And so that was one part of the experience that we left out. It doesn't talk back to you yet. But all of these things I love about the remote. I think we've kind of differentiated the product. We've made it really simple. And we actually hear a lot from people, I always hated voice recognition, but I love my voice remote. And so I think we've done a good job. We've gotten just tons of anecdotal feedback from customers, but really, for me, the usage speaks for itself. I would actually argue that it's hard to get data on the frequency of use for other voice products, but just based on some back of the envelope calculations, I think our product is probably used 10 times more than most voice products out there. We get over 10 commands per week, and on the average from customers. So that's quite a high average. So the other best practice is to surprise people. And this was one that I really kind of realized by accident, but we did this little thing when we had the Minions movie launching last summer. Universal Studios had this movie coming out in July last year, and they really wanted to just kind of do as many fun things as we could to help support the launch of the movie. And we came up with this idea to have the Minions talk back to you. So you could say banana, and then you would hear a minion say banana. And what we did there was we showed on-demand shows about food, because when you speak Minionese, because there's a whole language that these little characters speak, banana means hungry, and so we showed shows about food when you said you're hungry. Or they say big boss. They always talk about who their boss is or their master. And you could say big boss, and then they would say, yeah, big boss, big boss, big boss. And we showed movies about business. So we just had a lot of fun with this feature. It was really kind of just, it was easy for us to do, so we did it. But what it turned out is that the command banana was the #1 voice command that week. It turned out to be so fun. And we were analyzing at the time, this was just 2 months after we launched the voice remote. So we were looking at the behavior of customers on day 1 versus day 45. And this was the feature that brought back some of those customers that forgot about their voice button because we were doing something fun and that their kids liked trying, that they liked showing off to friends. It was really successful. So we're doing more of this, but it was kind of a good aha for me as a product manager. Don't just focus on making the product great. Keep people interested, keep them coming back. There's got to be something novel and fun to keep that interest. Oh, and by the way, I brought this picture of Cylon from Battlestar Galactica. I didn't even know who that was before this project, but the lead engineer on our team was having fun one day and created a Cylon voice. And so you could talk to the remote and it would talk back to you with this like Cylon I think he found an API somewhere that could take any text and make it sound like a Cylon voice out. And really this little joke, basically, from our engineer is what turned into the minions speaking back to you, because it kind of sparked that idea. So just another thing, I didn't really put it on the official list of best practices, but we have a lot of fun on our team, and sometimes the ideas that you think are just wacky and crazy can turn into a really great product idea. So just summarizing what I already went through, these are some of the advantages we had in launching. We had the cloud-based platform. We went to market really quickly with our app. We always eat our own dog food at Comcast by testing our products at home. And analyzing your usage is, of course, key, but also hearing from your customers directly, hearing that anecdotal feedback from them. And then, just a few of the best practices for making your product the best it can be for customers. Really try to solve a problem for them. It can't just be a cute feature, because over time that will go away. You need to solve a problem, make something easier for them. And then really focusing on your strengths. So doing one thing really well, doing two things really well, instead of always looking at those things you're getting wrong and swatting away at them. And standing out, making the product, don't be afraid to, especially when it's a new product and you're kind of breaking new ground, it can be unique, and you don't have to follow what else is out there. And then also just surprising your customers and delighting them with things like minions. So that is really all I had. I kind of blew through that. There's my Twitter handle if you want to find me on Twitter. Yeah, so I'm here. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, we have till 11:15, so we can open it up to questions now. And there's actually a microphone, and they would like you to use the microphone for questions because we're being recorded. So, any questions?
Can you talk a little bit about how Comcast organizes for product development and support?
Yes. Comcast is very large. So most of the time we have a lot of cross-functional involvement in product. But really, on a product side, there's typically one product owner and one engineering owner. So, those two work as a pair to really decide how things are going to get launched, and they take responsibility for it. So I have an engineering counterpart who I work closely with every day. He has a team. It's a pretty small team, less than 10 people who really built this whole thing. And then we're kind of very matrix at Comcast too, though, because the X1 team, we're such a big part of X1 that I work very, very closely with all of the rest of the product managers for X1. So we do a lot of kind of scrum of scrums, or like scrum of scrums. Like we kind of just have all of these layers of people that kind of go to different levels of meetings to really stay in touch with the bigger picture. And you really do have to do that. The other thing with product is that you really are the owner, like the CEO of your product. So I spend time with legal sometimes. Privacy is obviously a huge consideration with voice recognition. So, I do kind of the rounds with everything. We have vendors that we work with. We have a lot of marketing. Voice remote's probably the top advertised feature right now for Xfinity products. So I'm constantly working with marketing and, hey, that command doesn't work yet. Give me like a minute to make sure I have it working before that ad goes out. So yeah, I would say there's a lot of cross-functional management when it comes to product, but also at the end of the day, it's kind of comes down to the two people who really own the product, the engineer and the product owner. Yes?
Reach your pointer.
Oh, okay.
You had mentioned white labeling with Shaw and Cox. Was that a disruptive feature request, or was that planned from the beginning? And could you explain?
Yeah, I wasn't super close to all of the decision making, so I can't really speak to, where the decision came from. But for us, it was, mostly seen as a great opportunity to get our product in front of more customers. So we are really excited about it. It's, of course, you have to do a lot of extra testing and a lot of, it's not something that just comes with the flip of a switch. So it's definitely been hard work, but I think it's, we've gotten really amazing feedback already from Cox customers. So it's been kind of a very positive thing already. But yeah, of course, there's a little bit of disruption whenever you're doing anything additional to what you're launching already. I think you had one.
Hi. You mentioned, you're collecting logs and you're looking at your user analysis and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you decide that something is going away from user error and towards a systemic problem with the product that you need to evolve to, ensure that intimacy or frictionless use of the product?
Well, for one, the volume, is always an indicator. I mean, if I see just one error, I have only a few engineers who can fix that error. I can't justify fixing something that we saw once. But so I would say in general, like the things that happen in the highest volume that are problems, whether they're something we completely failed on or something where we have a slightly false positive experience with, those high volume instances are the ones we definitely go after right away. But with TV, I will say there's a lot of need to kind of predict how important things are. So of course, there's some element of cyclical TV. So that, this past weekend was the Masters. The Masters is very popular, but it's not popular until the minute it starts. Like 3 o'clock on Thursday or Friday when the first swing happens is when people start asking for it. There's nobody trying to record the Masters ahead of time. They really just watch it live. So there's some need to really stay on top of all of the events that happen with TV, but also stay ahead of the things that are coming. Like the People versus O.J. Simpson, that show, there was a lot of buzz about that show ahead of time. So we knew that was important to get right. And that show actually was challenging because the title had like V period in it, and that can trip up our system. So seeing that and kind of predicting that was going to be a big show was important as well. So there is some subjectivity and really just staying in tune with what's popular. And we have a whole team of experts who watch out for those things. This week, I know, we're excited about the Flyers going to the playoffs. Well, we've got to make sure we've got the Flyers game working, and that it also can, if you say Caps game, it can go to the game as well. So it is a little bit of just staying on top of the current, what's hot and fresh on TV.
So when developing something so innovative, do you guys have multiple tracks of multiple teams trying to arrive at it? You mentioned 10 people. That's kind of awesome and nimble, but yeah. Comcast being such a big company, do they have another 10 somewhere else trying to do the same thing and maybe combine everything at the end? Or maybe I'm thinking too much.
I mean, we do have research teams. We have people trying to think of the problems that aren't obvious problems, but that we see coming in 5 years. So we definitely have some folks. There was a team who did a voice remote 12 years ago at Comcast. So there are people trying to think ahead and learn the lessons we need to learn way ahead of time and point out the investment. I mean, X1 wouldn't have happened if we didn't take a big bet that eventually we would need a cloud-based guide. We didn't need it at the time. It was something that we really kind of bet on way ahead of time, thankfully. So yes, we do have a lot of research going on. Even in our content discovery team, we have a group of researchers who really kind of try to push us to the next thing. We're doing things like deep learning and machine learning within that team, and they're kind of learning the lessons and then helping our more tactical engineering team apply those lessons. So absolutely, we do have a lot of support for the bigger, more forward-looking things, and those would be separate teams. But we also have a great thing at Comcast that we call Lab Week, which is 3 times a year the engineers can put aside their day job and work on something that they think is exciting. They can pull a team together and work on a project, And then at the end of that week, they have what we call a science fair, and everybody goes and checks out what the ideas were. Like even last week, I saw one in DC where somebody took all of our X1 usage data and tried to predict what state would be red versus blue with the election. So it was kind of a very roundabout way to get to that data, but it was interesting. And he was looking at Fox News versus MSNBC and who's tuning there. So that, of course, probably won't make it out in front of customers, but that's kind of the spirit of the company, is that you should go chase some fun ideas and show them off to your peers, because of course you're going to learn something along the way and probably make your product better. Any more questions? Okay.
Hi, correct me if I'm wrong, but the voice remote product is only, you're only able to use it with the DVR, is that correct? With the room with the DVR?
Technically there's one box that it doesn't work with. So
Okay.
it makes it easier for us to just ask someone if they have a DVR, but there's actually a whole new generation of boxes going out and the voice remote works with all of them going forward.
That answers my question.
Okay.
Hey, you mentioned, so when you had the app come out for phones, first of all, it wasn't working that well because you didn't have the data to analyze. So in that case, was it a big priority to get it working as well as possible before releasing it? Or because it was a new feature, did you want to get it out there as soon as possible so you could start collecting that data?
Well, I will say that, we did actually, we had been using it internally quite a bit before we launched. And before we even had an app, before we had the pretty app that we have in production today, we had this ugly app that just had a microphone on it. And so we actually were testing quite early. We definitely couldn't predict the exact distribution of commands and the frequency of the things that people would have really liked. But we felt like we certainly got it to a point of accuracy that was worth launching. So we definitely did spend a lot of time on that ahead of time. I would say that was most because the usage was so small, we were looking at every command. And it's not until you launch with a lot of commands that you can really kind of focus in on the important things based on that volume you get from customers.
So you talked about tying into APIs in the back end and how that made it pretty easy for you guys. And I have a few voice assistants in my living room. Have you thought about opening this up to allow other things to control the TV?
Yes, absolutely. We have thought about it, and I think you'll probably see some different things coming. We've done some partnerships. For example, one thing that we've already launched, we haven't really announced it, but it's a feature that's already live, is integration with Wolfram Alpha. It's a general knowledge engine. You can say, a lot of you probably know it because it does math really well, but it also just has general knowledge about geography, science, history. And so you can actually say to the voice remote, Xfinity, who is Abraham Lincoln? And it brings up, who Abraham Lincoln is. One of the fun ones that I always like to demo is, Xfinity, how popular is the name Sam? You can kind of plug in any name and it tells you how popular it is. It's kind of just a fun one. But yeah, so the point is, yes, we are trying this. And that's really what we were after when we integrated with Wolfram Alpha is, let's see how interested people are in doing things other than finding TV shows. We haven't yet told people about it, so I don't think we've done the true test of whether people will like it. But it's certainly probably the first of many integrations that we'll do. And yes, X1 was built to do that really well. We have a lot of apps on X1 already, like Pandora is one of the most popular apps. You can just open up Pandora and play music throughout your house on X1. And we have a lot of different data, like our weather app is powered by weather.com. And so we're going out to different APIs already, very much so on the app side of X1. And I think, yes, we'll be doing that more with voice.
And so you spoke about how to how do you integrate the remote to the machine? Is it like through one-to-one? Can you do it through Wi-Fi?
So it's RF, like radio frequency. There is a slightly new protocol called RF4CE that takes audio. So just like you can send audio over Bluetooth, you can send it over RF. We actually participated in creating that standard for RF, and so we had people working on that technology and the standards for it way before it was even possible. And it's a great technology. It's a lightweight way to send it. Our boxes already have RF in them, so it was a natural extension of what we already do. And it's just a matter of pairing it. We encourage people to pair their remote for RF anyway, because then you can do aim anywhere tuning. So you can point to the ceiling or just have your set-top box away in a closet somewhere and still tune it. That same pairing mechanism is what enables voice. Any more questions? If you need a remote, again, I have them here, and I have cards here if anybody wants to come say hi. Thank you.